The 478th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com and use promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today.
Howdy ho, DeGenerinos. Welcome to episode 478 of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. This episode is going out to one of our friends on YouTube, Rusty, who always has kind comments and thumbs up. If no comment, at least a thumbs up. So thank you for checking out our videos, Rusty, and thanks everyone else for checking us out on YouTube or your podcast feed. Last show of 2023. No, we don't take New Year's Eve off. We are here in your ears to kind of do a State of the Union type of thing, not to steal something from Severe MMA. So we will not call it State of the Union, but we're basically doing a recap of the UFC and a look forward to 2024 in the UFC for each weight division. So we're taking a little break from breaking down regional fight events, and we're going to get you some more UFC content. But my co-host wants to recap the last MMA event of 2023 first. That means his picks must have done well. I know he got the first couple did well. At least two fights I watched he hit, but the face he's making means the rest of his picks didn't do too well. Let's bring him in. Danny Gumby Vreeland. Hello.
Not bad. And we can recap the last two events too, because we didn't get to recap Octagon last time we did it. 5-4 at Octagon. So the numbers don't look real great when you look at it like that. But three of those, including the co-main event and the main event, were both underdogs. So we actually wound up about up a unit on Octagon MMA picks, despite being just barely over 500. So a good night there. With Ryzen, slightly better overall with the picks. We were 6-4, but that one actually slightly worse when you count in the money lines, because like Izawa, who won, was like -1,000, and even though it was a closer fight than the odds maybe suggested, Kyoji Horiguchi was like -350 or something like that. So that one, despite having a slightly better record, was like down 3/4 of a unit. So those last two events put together, you can give me 11-8 for like plus 1/4 of a unit, in rounding out the year up about 13 units.
All right, so you survived. You were afraid that it was gonna torpedo
just like the worst picks. Like the worst two events in history with just 20 picks down the drain.
Exactly. So he's okay still, and you're gonna start the new year off right too, because we have some regional stuff lined up for the first few shows of 2024.
LFA kicking off the year. Is it LFA?
Is that what we're doing first? Let me check. We actually plan, people. We plan these things in advance. Gumby and I in cooperation, we have LFA, correct?
Yeah,
LFA, another Uriah Faber A1, which people seem to enjoy.
Yeah, they didn't really like that one.
We got good numbers. That doesn't necessarily mean they liked it, but they listen and watch at the very least. And then we got Unified MMA, which we haven't covered before, right?
We've covered Unified at some point in time. Yeah, because I think we talked about KB Buller when he left. Right, you did. Yeah, when he left, which he got brought up in the Discord again recently.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, gotta love a KB Buller reference.
KB Buller never die. Gumby, KB Buller never die. So we're going to do a little recap, as I said off top, of the UFC and look ahead, and we'll see how we did with our predictions starting the year. So we'll go through each weight class. We won't just talk about champions. We won't just rip through it and say, okay, this person's going to have the belt. We'll tell you about some up and comers we like and our thoughts overall in the division, that type of thing, like we normally do, because we're going to spread this out over a couple episodes. We'll start off with the ladies, because ladies come first always, and we won't do. We'll start off with the women's strawweight. How about the lightest weight class? This is actually going to be a good test too. How many weight classes does Jeff remember who the actual champ is in? So I'm like, okay, we both picked, for instance, women's strawweight. We both picked Weili Zhang, and I'm thinking, is she the champion still? She is. So
yeah,
we hit it. We both had her at the starting of the year -115. So that's a good hit for us, right?
Yeah, I mean, as far as futures odds go, negative 115 is probably as bad as you could do, but yeah, it's still good.
All right. Okay, so thoughts. We don't have any fight lined up for her officially next yet. Who do you think is going to be next for her?
So it's looking like it's probably the winner between Amanda Lemos and Amanda Lemos is fighting Tatiana Suarez early in the year. I got to imagine whoever wins that one is next for. And if you look at like the futures odds right now too, Tatiana Suarez is only like plus 140. So you got to imagine that that's kind of who they think is next to. Which, to be fair, like I don't think Amanda Lemos is going to be able to deal with her wrestling. That's kind of always been the problem with Lemos, big punching power, kind of isn't going to deal with like the overly heavy wrestling approach of Tatiana Suarez. So I think the books think Suarez is next. And again, we're seeing Weili Zhang here as like a negative number in terms of, her future odds.
Yeah, I don't really get that necessarily. Do you get that? Do you think that's proper?
But like, think about her historically though, right? Like, has she ever had issues with wrestlers? And then like, if it's not Suarez, who is it, man? Because, I'll be honest with you. I don't, this is not a division right now that I'm like, ooh, that's deep. It could be this person or this person or this person or this person. Like when we're going to go down welterweight, not to spoil a future one, but like when we go down welterweight, you're going to be like, oh, it could be Leon. It could be Bilal. It could be Shavkat. It could be, Sean Brady could make a run in 2024. Like there's 100 people you could be like, oh, like Kamaru Usman could get another title shot, and he was close to Leon twice. So like we could sit here and rattle off 13 different, welterweights, or, middleweight is going to be the most wide open division in the whole world. Like it could be anybody at middleweight. And at strawweight, it's kind of like if Suarez beats Lemos, she's just going to have to like suffocate Weili Zhang for 3 rounds. Cause I don't know that she's going to sub Weili. So she's going to have to win 3 of the rounds just by laying on her. And I don't know that I like her chances to do that. Weili has historically been really good against wrestlers. Like, look at what she did to Carla Esparza.
So, are you making your prediction right out of the gate here? You're saying Weili is going to be the champ at the end of the year?
Yeah, I'm saying like, okay, so maybe I don't love the odds because I'm seeing it right now, negative 125.
Yes, worse than what we got. Yeah,
worse than what we got last year. And so like I obviously don't love that, but like. Yeah, like if you're asking me, gun to my head, I got to pick the winner here. I want to walk away with some money at the end of the day. Yeah, it's probably got to be her.
I'm rolling the dice. I'm taking Suarez at plus money. I'll take her at plus money.
And if you
like chances,
so I know I mentioned plus 140 is the number we were looking at this like agreed upon website that we were looking at, which I don't even know where those odds are available.
Yeah,
but if you look, if you look at Bet Online, I've been nosing around there. You guys know that they're good for weird MMA bets. Tatiana Suarez is actually plus 200 on that one.
Oh, even better.
Weili Zhang is negative 165 on that one though, which is kind of even less enticing. But I would say like. I guess if you wanted to go down ballot and like look for somebody, Yan Xiaonan is not an awful pick. Again, I just don't know if she deals with Weili Zhang's power. I think Weili Zhang probably stays champ. The only one who maybe, and I don't see an odd listed here, but originally DraftKings had a whole bunch of people listed and they pulled them all this morning, which is kind of a huge bummer because they were going deep into divisions. The only number I would be interested in seeing if it showed up on books is I'd kind of be interested in seeing what Lupi Godinez's lines look like. Right? She's looked. Because she's looked so good lately, right? Like she's been beating people up pretty easily. She's got a huge fight against Virna Jandiroba coming up. And like if she beats Virna Jandiroba in March, she's probably in the top 5. We're talking about like needing to beat somebody like, she's probably not going to get Rose Namajunas, but beating somebody like Yan Xiaonan, who I think she could probably beat, and then suddenly being in a title shot. Like it wouldn't be surprising to see her in a title shot in December. And so like if you could find her at like 30-1 or something like that, which like she's probably at least that. If you could find her at something like that, like she might be an interesting number to look at.
Yeah. Another thing we have to think about when you're making bets and predicting this is how often does the champion tend to fight? Zhang Weili fought twice in 2022, only once in 2023. So that was back in August. So you would think she would be ready to go as of right now, but as we or as Dan had already mentioned, we already have a fight, assumingly, what we're assuming it's between the top two contenders or the people who are next in line for the belt, and that's not happening until what, next month, I guess, right?
Yeah,
No, February 17th.
It's so like, I mean, best case scenario, we're looking at her fighting in maybe May, which is another reason why that number is probably what it is, right? It's
Right.
like
Right.
It's probably just because they don't trust that she's going to fight enough.
I would say it's Zhang, Suarez, or bust, because I don't know if she's gonna, if the champ's gonna fight more than once in 2024.
And the odds kind of say that too, right? Like the odds are saying, like outside of those two, the next number that you see up there is like, I mentioned Yan Xiaonan at like 600 or 700, depending on the books you're looking at. Like, so it goes, there's a huge jump there right after that one.
And also, I saw a stat, I can't find it now, but fighters in title fights 35 years or older have only won twice. They're like 2 and 35 or something ridiculous like that, with I think Woodley, the only person who has ever won at 35 or older. And the current champ, Zhang Weili, is turning 35 next year. So just something to keep in mind. Not that Suarez is the spring check, and she's 33 already too. So just something
less mileage on Suarez, though, which is a big piece of that, I think.
Yeah, so fights we have lined up already. We got Suarez Lemos at UFC 298. We got Jillian Robertson, Polyana Viana, UFC 297. Verna Jandiroba, Lupi Godinez, which is the fun one. Gumby already mentioned that one. That's UFC Fight Night 239, which is in March, March 30th. Diana Balbicha, Molly McCann, Luma Lookbumi, Bruna Brazil. That's a fun one too. Bruna Brazil. We haven't given up on her yet. Sam Hughes, Yasmin Yarigi, someone to keep an eye on there as well. And I think that's it here for the weight class. Lots of decent up and comers though in this weight class, right?
Yeah, I mean some. I feel like sometimes we get close to really liking somebody there, and they kind of put either take a long layoff, or then we see some sort of glaring hole. I really like Brianna Van Buren. I haven't seen her in a minute. I really like.
She had a baby, I think, right?
I think she did. Yeah, and got married, if I'm not wrong. I think she's Brianna Frostino now, or something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that. And then I like people like Bruna Brazil, and she took that big shot and didn't look so good doing it. And we like Denise Gomes. It looked like she was going to be something because she knocked out Bruna Brazil, and now I don't know. Now she's kind of written off. Yeah. So I think there are some, but I don't think any to be immediately excited about.
Okay. Do you have a favorite under 30 fighter here? You want me to list them off quickly for you? Emily Ducote, Eduardo Moira, Mizuki Inoue, Tabitha Ricci, Jillian Robertson, Hyan Dos Santos, Jacqueline Amarim, Cheyenne Vlisma, who just had a baby as well, Josephine Knudsen, Luma Lookbumi, Diana Balbicha, Melissa Martinez, Victoria Dudakova, Yasmin Yarigi, Corey McKenna, Denise Gomes, Yasmin Lucindo is 21 years old. Any of those jump out at you?
I'd say I really like Moira, and I really like Knudsen. I think those two were, both 1-0. A lot of ground to make up before we're really talking about them doing anything in this division. But those two I like. Yep.
Is there a fighter that you think is going to have a breakout this year?
I think Luma Lookbumi. I mentioned Luma Lookbumi, or not Luma Lookbumi, Lupi Godinez.
Lupi, yes.
Yeah, I think she's like a fun long shot. If the title, maybe the title does change hands with Tatiana Suarez. So if it does, Lupi could wind up being the toughest out for her because she's got because she's got such fun wrestling. And I know maybe it's premature to be talking about Lupi like that, but if she handles Virna Jandiroba, it will show that she can deal with some of the top grapplers.
Yep. Very good. So good. Thumbs up division, thumbs down division,
thumbs up
middle division.
Thumbs up.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. Thumbs up. Can't complain about this. All right. You also can't complain about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy has a way to play alongside your favorite fantasy players all season long. NFL, NBA, NHL, college basketball, college football, MMA, they got it all. Simply pick higher or lower on your fantasy players' fantasy stats and cash in. Gumby, you got to play for us, maybe for New Year's Eve or kick off the new year right. You got to play.
Kick off the new year right with the NBA on Monday. That's the New Year's. I'm gonna take Who do I like here? Let's take Giannis's higher than on his points. He's playing the Pacers. Those games tend to get out of hand pretty quickly. So I'll take Giannis's higher than his points.
Yes. Did you see my top pick in fantasy basketball this year was Tyrese Halliburton, back-to-back 2020 games. Crazy.
Yeah, hugging his mom after it too.
Crazy. Well, there you go. An extra bonus for that. All right. So watch along, make your picks, maybe make a little cash over on Underdog's mobile app or website on underdogfantasy.com. And don't forget to hug your mom as well. When you sign up with the promo code SGPN, Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code SGPN. So far, so good. 1 for 1, Gumby. We should probably stop right now. We got all our predictions correct, right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
All right, women's flyweight. Let's see how we did here. We both had Valentina Shevchenko. Almost, but not.
She drew the last one.
Yes, she almost got it back. Alexa Grasso, of course, is our champion. Bit of a surprise, right?
Yeah, big surprise for me. I didn't give her any chance the first time, and I think I picked against her the second time.
Even like the past few years, it's not like we were thinking she was championship material. Maybe when she first started out, but then she didn't seem her star didn't seem to be shining as quite as bright as it did when she first got into the UFC. But what do we know, right?
Well, she was one of those prospects who showed holes in the armor too. So yeah, good to see her reach her potential.
Yep. Yes. So she is our champion. We're assuming it's going to be a rematch next, right?
Yeah.
They have not announced it yet, which isn't good. We want these fights announced and these divisions going. So I'll give you the odds for flyweight. They have it all out of wacky order here, but let me find women's flyweight here.
I can give them to you if you want. I got the bet online open.
I don't have it. Okay, yeah. They don't have it on the site I'm looking at. So you let me know what or give us top 5 or whatever we got.
So it's got the odds-on favorite being Aaron Blanchfield.
Okay, yeah.
Plus 200. So they're really unsure about who winds up champ here. Second is Grasso plus 350. Third, Manon Fiorot plus 375. Shevchenko plus 450. Fifth in that division, which is kind of interesting. Fifth in that division, Weili Zhang plus 700.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't see that happening. That's a real long shot. Like I said, I don't think she's going to.
She doesn't fight enough
that much here.
Yeah, she doesn't fight enough.
Yeah. All right. Interesting. Tough. Another division where there's no title fight already announced. So you got to kind of guess.
You have to know the title fight is going to be Grasso versus Shevchenko though, because
but you don't know when. That's the thing.
Yeah, Fiorot is fighting Blanchfield.
Right. Right. Yeah. How about I'll let you know who is fighting who first of all that we already know. So Blanchfield Fiorot is the biggest fight that we have announced in this division. March 30th, that's happening. So it's still a while off. Macy Barber, Caitlin Chukagian, as much as we like to scoff maybe at both those people, that's actually they're top of the division fighters. They're at UFC 299 March the 9th. So that's another possible number 1 contender fight, depending on how Blanchfield Fiorot goes down. Miranda Maverick, Andrea Lee, UFC 298, February 17th. Karine Silva versus Viviana Araujo. So a nice step up for Silva. Luana Carolina, Juliana Stolarenko. Both those last 2 fights are happening February the 3rd. So pretty soon. Molly McCann is moving down a weight class. We already told you about that. Yasmin Jasudavicius gets a hometown fight or a home country fight in Toronto, UFC 297 versus Priscilla Cachoeira. And that is it. All right. So let's try to map things out here. When do you think we're going to get part 3 of Shevchenko Grasso? We talked about this a few episodes ago. Neither women are hurt as far as you know.
I think they got to be lining it up for one of the title fights for UFC 300.
Oh yeah, you think so? Okay.
I think it's got to be that, right? That's supposed to be in April. We're booked up through March for the most part, right? Like we know our title fights up through March.
Yep.
That you got to imagine they're trying to put 3, maybe 4 title fights on that UFC 300 card. This one kind of feels like the second or third from the top. You know what I mean? Like it's not you're not going to main event UFC 300 with this trilogy fight, but it certainly could be the 3rd best title fight on it or the 4th best title fight on it. So like, I think that's pretty obviously in the works for that time.
Okay. And then you never know. What if it's a draw again? What if it's you would think they wouldn't do it again. You would think not. All right, so it's April. Then we got what, May, June. So maybe like early fall, and that's probably it, right?
Well, it
So
depends on
whoever,
who wins too, right? Like
yeah,
Shevchenko is kind of, as of late, not been as active as she used to be. But I think you could see Grasso being as young as she is and as good as she is. Like I could see if she won her fight with Shevchenko and looked good doing it, I could see her fight 2 more before the end of the year.
okay. I think yeah, you predicted first last time. I'm gonna say I'm gonna base it off of the Grasso Shevchenko fight because I really don't know who's gonna win. Man, this is a tough one. This is a tough one to pick because I don't even know who's gonna win. I guess Grasso. What do I get Grasso at?
Plus 350.
Okay, yeah, I think it's worth it for her. I think she can beat Shevchenko again. I think Shevchenko is not going to be getting any better at this point, and Grasso possibly could still be improving. She's not over the hill quite yet. And then I don't know who's going to win, Blanchfield Figueroa, and then I don't know who's going to when and if they're going to fight for the belt next. So give me the champ. I think that's the safest bet, especially at the plus 350.
I would say it's the best odds. So I would say,
Okay,
gun to my head, that's not who I'm picking.
Yeah.
But in terms of odds, like 350 on the current champ who knows how many times she'll fight and she's getting a rematch. She hasn't lost to twice. I think those are probably the best odds. If we're doing the gun to your head pick that we're going to write down and check in on in 12 months, I'll take Blanchfield. I mean, I don't think the plus 200 odds are good for her.
No.
Especially being as like you said, we don't know when that'll come, and it's probably best case scenario we're talking August or September. So like I don't think plus 200 makes a lot of sense for her if you want to ride with that number, but I will say that's kind of like if everybody was equal odds, that's who I would pick, and that's why the books have her at chalk.
Yeah, she's got to get through. That's no gimme fighting Manon Figueroa. I don't even know who I'm going to pick in that fight for sure at this point. So no gimme there. I would like a lot better number than that for Blanchfield. I wouldn't be surprised if she does end up the champ, but as Gumby said, I would like a better number. Lots of under 30s in this division as well. I'll run through them quickly and see if any of these dive out as
I can go off top if you want. I know who
go right ahead off top of your head,
rather than so they don't have to hear us rattle them all off real quick. As painful as it is for me to say that the jump that she made over the last couple of fights, like Macy Barber is one of the best looking under 30 right now.
The future.
And she's getting a fight with Caitlin Chokagian next, which is like a fight that's going to catapult her up the division. I still kind of have hopes for Miranda Maverick too. Like I think she's got a lot of potential. And obviously like Erin Blanchfield's 24. So like, and then you could probably throw either of the Silvas in there. Although I think Karini just turned 30.
Yeah, she just turned 30. Yep.
Yeah, but Natalia is still only 26 or something like that. So either of the Silvas is worth your time too in terms of people who are under that age.
Yeah, this is a very very good division for up and comers. Like I said, Blanchfield, Barber, O'Neill. We're done with her for the time being.
I am
Miranda Maverick, possibly Natalia Silva for sure. Definitely, she is a good fighter. Veronica Hardy is still under 30.
Lipsky is too. Who just beat the hell out of O'Neill.
Lipsky is too. Yeah, good division. Another thumbs up division, I would say.
Yep. Let's talk about the one that's not a thumbs up.
Yeah. Here we go. Actually, I'm going to tell you about something that is a thumbs up first. A couple things that are thumbs up. Game Time first. All this money that we're going to help you win, you can go and spend some of it on tickets. Not too much because they have good deals over at Game Time, and you can wait last minute if you want to get tickets because they are the spot for that. Game Time is the place for last minute ticket deals. Forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals and tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals and tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Game Time guarantee means you always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section in a row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. It's the fastest growing ticketing app in the country for a reason. Get images of your seat before you buy so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Buy tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps and you're set. Tickets are sent directly to your phone so you never have to dig through your email. Snag the tickets without stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CFBX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. guaranteed. And Hall of Fame bets. Win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame bets, the sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, and soccer bet with historical stats and data. Enter any parlay idea into Hall of Fame Bet's revolutionary parlay optimizer tool to get hit rates broken down by leg, as well as an expected probability for the entire parlay. Sort all players by hit rate for any bet to learn which players are hot and which picks have value. Stop betting in the dark and join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com and use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. So no matter who we picked here, we would have been wrong for women's bantamweight. There is no champion, Gumby. We had Amanda Nunes, which is kind of right because she didn't lose, right?
I bet you there are books out there that cashed Amanda Nunes tickets.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that.
I bet you they did because nobody else fought for it. Technically, she should still be holding the title right now. So I bet there are people out there or books out there who, because the title is just technically vacant, just cashed anybody who had that. Maybe they didn't. Tell me if they didn't. Yeah, that's criminal.
Hopefully good books did. All right, so the vacant title is being unvacated. It's going to be unvacated. It's going to be housed come UFC 297 in Toronto. Someone will take possession of the belt on January the 20th. Raquel Pennington versus Mayra Buena Silva. Yippee. Other fights announced coming up. Ketlin Vieira, Macy Chiasson are fighting in the very first event of 2024, January 13th. And we probably don't have much else because it's not really much of a division, even if you put the featherweights in here.
Especially when Ketlin Vieira, Macy Chiasson got canceled too. So I don't think we actually have another bantamweight fight booked at all.
Oh, that one got canceled. Really? Okay. Sorry about that. Stupid Wikipedia. We were supposed to have Norma Dumont, Yana Santos, but that got canceled as well. So
and a couple of people suggested that Macy should just fight Norma Dumont, but that fight already happened, and it was a weird split decision. I mean, I guess you could run it again, but other than that, there's nothing going on in this division.
What? Okay, what are our top 5 odds for the champion?
All right, so the top 5 odds at the top, you got Mayra Buena Silva. Her numbers are plus 350. So the lowest the numbers go, plus 350. So you're gonna get 3.5 to 1 no matter what. Plus 350 on Mayra Buena Silva. Same number for Juliana Pena. Then you get 450 for Rocky Pennington, 500 for Ketlin Vieira, and then the same as Ketlin Vieira, plus 500 for Valentina Shevchenko. So she's the 5th highest, or tied for the 4th highest odds there, which is kind of interesting. And then they list a ton of them on this on BetOnline. We got Irina Aldana, Holly Holm, we got Chiasson, Norma Dumont's listed here at 25 to 1. There's a bunch of odds here listed. Panakian's odds got odds listed. They listed everybody for the most part.
Yeah, I think Silva's the obvious pick for me, especially at plus 350. I think she win. I think she beats Pennington, and I think she can beat whoever they put in front of her the rest of the year. She probably has one more, well, maybe 2 title defenses if they want that to happen. Who's going to beat her? Juliana Pena? Come on.
I actually think the best looking odds here is Valentina Shevchenko.
You think she loses and moves up?
I could see her not even taking the Grasso fight again. It's not let's say Grasso's banged up and that's why they haven't made it yet for UFC 300, and maybe we just don't know, right? Because that's always a possibility. We don't know everybody's health status. That's why they made, Manuel Firo versus Blanchfield to see who's the number 1 contender. In the meantime, what would be a huge fight for UFC 300? Whoever wins, let's say Rocky Pennington beats Mayra Buena Silva. Valentina Shevchenko coming up to fight for a new division, become a double champ. UFC loves that double champ narrative. And she was, let's face it, basically the champ when Amanda Nunes was there. She was Amanda Nunes' biggest test every single time she fought her. So I can see Valentina Shevchenko maybe taking the road of least resistance. She's older now. The weight cut's got to be harder. These young fighters Firo and Blanchfield and Grasso, they just got great gas tanks and the weight cut doesn't kill them. I could see that. I will also tell you, when I was looking at the odds on DraftKings earlier this month, before they ripped them off, right before we went to the show, my favorite long shot odd one, and I hope they repost it again because I was waiting on it. Misha Tate. Misha Tate was 50-1. And I'm just gonna say, if I can find it again, or if any of you out there can find it again, Misha Tate at 50-1, with as good as she looked in her last fight, and as bad as the top of this division's title picture looks like, you mean to tell me she couldn't just like out grapple Mayra Buena Silva for 3 rounds?
And a division that's desperate for a star.
Yeah, and who needs somebody who maybe already has some like face value, right? Because like they were hoping Holly Holm beat Mayra Buena Silva so that they could be like, well, time to do another Holly Holm one.
Oh my God.
And they didn't.
She has not been mentioned in any of those odds you mentioned, which was nice.
She was plus 1,000. She was only 10-1, but she's only 10-1, and I had seen Misha Tate at 50-1. So like, to me, Misha Tate's got way better odds, and especially if she looks as good as she did against Julia Avila. And granted, it was Julia Avila off a long layoff and whatever, but like she beat the hell out of Julia Avila. I would love to see those Misha Tate odds show up again. You could certainly do worse with your pizza money.
Keep feeding her moms, and she'll run them down.
I mean, most of
Pennington's a mom, technically, right?
Yeah, she's a mom. Jermaine Durandamy's a mom. Juliana Pena's a mom. They're all moms.
Yeah, they're all moms. All right, so who is your official pick again?
I'm gonna say my official pick. Screw it. My official pick will be Misha Tate. I think Misha Tate.
Wow, plus 5,000. You saw that?
Yeah.
Woo! You're going to be gloating if that hits. All right. Is there any future in this division?
No.
Well, we got Lucy Podolova,
Aileen Perez. Yeah, Aileen Perez. Like
Carol Hossa.
I hate saying
Jocelyn Edwards, Ravina Oliveira, Jacqueline Calvocante, Tamaris Vidal, Luana Santos. Any of those excite you? Luana Santos is 2-0. She's only 23.
No.
No.
Calvocante looked kind of good. She's like long and boxes well.
Yeah.
Chelsea Chandler beat Aileen Perez, but then looked just awful in her next fight. Like, I don't know. It's kind of it's not a division for young guns. Let's just leave it at that.
It's men's heavyweight, basically, which it makes sense. It's the heaviest women's division. So
it's men's
just
heavyweight.
The way it goes. All right. Should we move to perhaps the best division or one of the best divisions, flyweight? Sure. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Sure, let's do it. All right. You want to keep going off the odds you have, or you want me to?
Yeah, these odds seem to be a little deeper than what we had to go with. So,
all right, we had one sec. Sorry, I had Figueiredo. You had Moreno, which was good guesses.
I was closer than you. I was closer than you.
Whatever. I had a Brazilian. A Brazilian is a champ, so I was closer than you. Of course, the champ is Alexandra Pantoja. Not only this was less than half a year too. He didn't fight until August. Won the belt, and then he's already defended it. So, as I wrote on my Money MMA Substack, no Brandons are safe around Alexandra Pantoja because he ran through the top 2 Brandons in flyweight. So he is our champion. We do not predict that. We rather wisely predicted the only 2 men who fight for the belt to still be champions. So, do we have a title fight lined up? Yeah. Well, he just fought. So who do you think is next in line?
So I think he's going to get, so there are 2 fights coming up that I think people could sort of stake their claim in terms of who would fight for the title next. So Brandon Moreno is fighting Amir Albazi. If Albazi wins that fight, it's definitely Albazi to me because he would have beaten Brandon Moreno, and that's like enough. If Moreno wins that fight and looks really good doing it, I could see them running that back. That was a really close first fight, and Moreno's got that kind of like name value that you want to run out onto a fight. And then you could also run Manel Cape is fighting Matthews Nicolau. If one of those 2 looks really good in what they do, I could see that too.
Yep. All right, so here are the fights we have. This division, by the way, is nothing but young prospects. So Joshua Van versus Felipe Bunes, January the 13th. Felipe Dos Santos, Victor Altamirano, UFC Mexico, which is February 24th. Mohamed Mokaev, 2023, versus Alex Perez. Sure. Like Alex Perez is going to fight March 2nd. So he Mohamed Mokaev versus a last minute newcomer to the UFC. He'll be for Daniel Lacerda, Edgar Charaz, UFC Mexico. Are you laughing about that fight?
Yeah, because they're running it for a 3rd time.
Yep. Azak Maxim, Nate Manis, fight night in Vegas on February the 3rd. Asu Almabayev. Am I supposed to know him? Versus
Yeah.
CJ Vergara. Who did he win in his first fight? Who did he beat?
Asu Almabayev fought.
Do you remember? So you don't remember either.
No, he fought somebody I thought should beat him, and then he looked way better than he was supposed to. At
All
least
right,
in
cool.
my opinion.
I'm sure if I Google his face, I'll remember him. Anyhow, he's fighting CJ Vergara March the 9th. As Dan mentioned, Moreno Albazi, that's the UFC Mexico main event. That'll be a good one. Manel Cape, Matias Nicolau, another top level fight in the division. That's happening first fight card in 2024. So that's January the 13th. This division is jumping. There's a lot of fights, which is good to see. What else do we got? We already told you about that. So Vergara, Ultramarino, Jimmy Flick, Malcolm Gordon are fighting UFC 297. Excuse me, in Toronto, and that is it. So pretty exciting division. All right, let's map out what's going to happen here. So, who do you think is going to fight next, and who's going to win that fight?
So we just mapped out the two fights that we thought.
Yeah, I know. But who do you think is good? What do you think is going to happen?
I mean, I think Moreno's going to win that fight and get another shot. If I'm being honest.
Okay.
I think, the name value thing, I think seems to mean more and more for the UFC as of late. So I think he's going to do that, and the odds kind of suggest the same thing. So I'm seeing Pantoja plus $190 as the odds-on favorite. So you're getting almost 2-1 on him. Moreno is plus 200, so almost the same exact number as Pantoja, which is kind of interesting. Then you take a big jump. Cape is 400. Albazi plus 750. Nobody's got any faith that he's going to do anything to Moreno. And then after that, it's Mokaev at 850, which I can't see him making it to a title shot. And he also just I have to say, I like the potential of him, but we're really going to give him any kind of odds to beat somebody like Pantoja when he almost got caught by Jafel Filo in a submission. Yeah. No.
Is he even the best 23-year-old in the flyweight division? The best undefeated 5-0 23-year-old in the flyweight division?
Because you're talking about Tetsuya Taira.
I am.
Yeah. And I think, I think either of those two Uzbek prospects too, I think could potentially wind up being more impressive, although they're at their late 20s, I think. Both Maxim and Albayev. So I think he's got lots of potential, but kind of like we were talking about in the main event Horizon with another young up and coming flyweight, he just makes too many mistakes. The people he's fought so far haven't capitalized on him. Somebody at the top of this division will. Amir Albazi would capitalize on those problems. Brandon Royval would capitalize on those problems. Pantoja would definitely capitalize on those problems. I even think somebody like Matthews Nicolau would capitalize on those problems. So I think he's got a lot of potential, but he's really got to iron some stuff out.
Yep. You have a pick?
Yeah, I'm going to say Pantoja. I hate to be
Me too.
I hate to be chalky here, but the only other odd I would say that actually intrigues me is Amir Albazi 7.5 to 1. And the reason that one intrigues me is just he is one fight away. The guy he's fighting is plus 200. So what if he comes out and his wrestling is everything he claims it is? Because in his last fight, he blew me away with how good his wrestling looked. And so if it comes out and it's this amazing, he's able to steamroll Brandon Moreno, and then you're sitting there holding a 7-1 ticket that he could do a similar thing to Pantoja. I mean, I think you'd be really happy with that if he walked out of that Moreno fight unscathed.
Yep, Pantoja is 33 right now, so this is getting to be the end of him. This maybe another 1 or 2 title defenses.
Yeah, Albazi's no spring chicken either, though. He's 30.
No. Yep. One of these young guns are going to get him because this division is nothing but young guns. Joshua Van is 22. He's 2-0. Mokaev is 23. He's 5-0. Taira 23, 5-0. Jeff Molina sadly is still suspended. He's 3-0. He's still only 26. It's nothing but undefeated. Clayton Carpenter undefeated. Rafael Ramos Estevam undefeated. Hyun-Sung Park 2-0. Steven Ursig 2-0. All these guys are in their 20s still. And then Maxim Almabayev as we mentioned earlier. So yeah, fantastic. 2 thumbs up for this division. Yeah, it is a stacked division for sure. All right, let's do some bantamweight, shall we? Lots of weight classes. Bantamweight, who do we predict starting of the year? We both had Aljo. We both were wrong. We had
Not
Aljo
Sean
at plus
O'Malley.
250. Yeah. Surprise. I guess it's not a total shock that Sean O'Malley is the champion.
I mean, now that hindsight's 2020, but like,
yeah,
the way he used his length against Aljo, I mean, I think it plays against a lot of these other wrestlers at bantamweight too. Like if Aljamain overexerted himself trying to get close, man, Merab, who's been tagged by everybody and their cousin, right? Like it's not going to be better for Merab, right? Like, because Merab is a worse striker than Aljamain Sterling. Like, he might have better weaponized cardio. Like, you might even argue his wrestling's better. Probably not his jiu-jitsu, but you might argue his wrestling's better. But his ability to close the distance is not better. Like if you want to go back to like who is it that he fought that just like absolutely rung his bell and then ran out of gas? Do you remember who I'm talking about?
Like, I'm gonna remember.
Your memory is bad. That's true. Marlon Moraes. It was Marlon Moraes. Marlon Moraes like basically knocked him out in the feet. And he's like the most resilient dude in the history of the world. He seems like you can't beat him unless you choke him unconscious, which Ricky Simone did, and he still barely won that fight. But yeah, I just think like he doesn't close the distance well enough to give Sean O'Malley any real trouble. So I think the winner of I guess the winner of Cejudo in Merab is going to fight Sean O'Malley or Cheeto Vera next. I think it's a little mini. You can call that like a little mini tournament. That's kind of how this division.
Why are we talking about Merab? Merab doesn't even have next. I'll let you know what we do have lined up next. Aljo left the division. He is up at featherweight, so he's gone. We got Munoz versus Kyler Phillips, UFC 299, which is in March. We got Vera versus O'Malley for the belt on that same event in Miami on March the 9th. Cejudo Dvalishvili the month before, UFC 298 in Anaheim on February 17th, my brother's birthday. Taylor Lapilus, Farid Basharat is happening the very next event, January the 13th. Son Yadong, Peter Yan, UFC 299 in Miami. That's a pretty big fight. See if Yan can get things going again. Ricky Simon, Mario Bautista, which is a fun one. That is happening in a couple weeks, January the 13th. Brad Katona gets to fight on his home soil versus Garrett Armfield, UFC 297 in Toronto. And anything else? Kyler Phillips, Pedro Munoz, UFC 299. That's another high quality fight. Brady Heasted, Rinya Nakamura. There's a lot of, I guess, bantamweight. You can't really make a bad fight in bantamweight. That's happening UFC 298, February 17th as well. And I think that is it. So a lot of I forgot. An exciting Farid Basharat. We can't forget about him versus Taylor Lapilus. Did I say that already?
Yeah, it was the first thing you said.
Yes, that's right. Yes. Marcus McGee versus Gaston Bolanos. That's happening in a couple weeks as well. So enough. Bantamweight's a big division. Lots of good fighters in it. Possibly, is it the best division in the UFC?
It's the most exciting to watch fights in.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's the best like that's kind of depends on what you're into, but like it's the most exciting fights for sure.
All right, what kind of odds are you going to give us here?
So Sean O'Malley, odds on favorite, which kind of makes sense here, plus 275, so almost 3-1 on the champ.
Oh wow, I see him at plus 150, so that is much better than what I see him at.
BetOnline's got pretty good numbers here, and then Umar Nurmagomedov is second, plus 300. So almost the same odds as O'Malley. I think that's wild.
He doesn't have a fight lined up, right?
And I think he needs 2 to get to the title anyway.
Yeah,
it's not like there aren't
who's he going to jump? Yeah, he's not going to jump ahead of the guys that already have fights lined up too.
Yeah, like and like I said, it's a tournament right now.
Exactly.
If Sean O'Malley beats Cheeto, he's fighting the winner of Merab in Cejudo, because both of those fights have like a narrative to them. Yeah. So like we're talking about Umar fighting. Maybe if this winds up a 3 title fight. And that's if he can find the right fights to move him up the division, right?
Yeah, exactly.
He pulled out of that Corey Sandhagen fight, and now Corey Sandhagen's like, dude, go fly a kite. So Umar's plus 300. I think that's a terrible number.
Yeah, no.
Merab's next, plus 375, and then we take a pretty big jump. Corey Sandhagen is 4th, plus 700. 5th is Marlon Vera, the guy fighting for the title next.
Yeah.
8-1 on Cheeto.
I guess they're thinking if he beats O'Malley, he's going to lose to Merab or whoever he fights next, I guess is what people are thinking.
I don't know. That's the best looking odds to me. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I'm predicting him to be the champ next year, but like if I'm looking at all these odds, I'm like, I don't know whose odds look nice. That one looks the nicest. That or like if you want to go down card a little bit, I don't hate Song Yadong at plus 1,000. Davison Figueiredo plus 1,600. He looked like a killer the other day. He's 100 years old and has millions of miles on the tires. But they're also offering you Cody Garbrandt if you would like him.
Please.
He's 33-1.
Please. I'm taking Merab. Decent number on him, and he's got a path to the title. Obviously, I think he beats Cejudo, and then he's going to get a title shot. What's the number on him again?
375.
Yeah, that's a good number. I'll take that.
I'm going to go Sean O'Malley. I think
that would be my second choice.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I don't think Merab is going to be able to close the distance on him should that fight happen. And I think he's going to get by Cheeto. But I will say, if there was one person who would tempt me on these odds that was not Sean O'Malley, it would definitely be Cheeto at 8-1.
Yeah. So what's O'Malley's number we're putting you down at?
275.
Yeah, that's a good number. This division is another division that's all a bunch of young killers, like Rel Rosas Jr., for instance, 19, and seems to be adding things to his basket of tools every time we see him in there. One of Gumby's favorites, Cameron Simon's only 23. He's 3-1 in the UFC. As you mentioned, Song Yadong, 10-2-1. He's only 26 years old. Farid Basharat,
10-1 at him too, and as good as he just looked too is a fun one.
Umar's only 27. Like, is there anyone that stands out, especially Javid Basharat? Kyler Phillips hasn't been very active, but he's got a decent record. He's under 30. The champ is under 30. This is a fantastic division for young talent. Is there anyone in particular that excites you? Rinya Nakamura. I'll shut up.
He's not young, but I like Marcus McGee. He just keeps looking better and better every single time I've seen him fight, and he looks like he's 80, which is kind of fun. I think it's fun. Yeah, I think Nakamura, I know he's kind of like had lackluster performances, but I think the base there is like impressive enough that you really got to worry about him. So, kind of him. Javid Basharat, obviously, but like that one's kind of a given. I think I have him ranked in my rankings right now. So, him.
Yep. Fantastic. All right. I want to put a cap in it here, and we'll finish her up tomorrow with the rest of our divisions. That sounds good?
What do we got? What do we got? 6 divisions left? Yeah, that's a good spot to stop.
It is. All right. Thank you for listening. Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you for being with us in 2023, either sticking us in your eye holes and or your ear holes. We appreciate it once again, and all the best to everyone in 2024. You can talk to us if you would like in the Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. That's the spot to hang out. SGPN MMA on Twitter, and Gumby Vreeland and Jeff Fox Writer there. I'm also Jeff Fox Writer on Instagram. I told you about my Substack, moneymma.substack.com. I just posted my Fighter of the Year rankings based on performance, not based on votes or anything like that. I'm also working on a top 24 under 24 fighters for 2024. A lot of 24s there, Gumby.
So, 24 under 24.
Yeah. There's not a heck of a lot of fighters, so I'm gonna have to definitely dip out of the UFC for sure. We'll see. I may have to dip into your brain too. We'll see, Gumby, if there's any up and comers that I don't know about. So that is in the works. Gumby's got the Top Turtle MMA podcast. Is it coming back this week, Gumby?
It is, and I got some good guests for this week. So kicking off the show this week, I talked with Jim Miller.
Fantastic.
And I get to the bottom of the A10 nickname. I now know where A10 came from, and it's kind of a funny story. And there's an alternative nickname in the works.
Gumby's coming through with the goods.
So I got that one, and I got Weston Wilson too. So make sure you tune in to this week's show.
Top Turtle never disappoints. And obviously sportsgamblingpodcast.com and sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon is the place to be. We shall be back tomorrow. It'll be the Snow Leopard, Jeff Fox. What should your nickname be, Gumby? let me think of a good nickname for Gumby. Oh, Suga, of course. Suga. Gumby Vreeland will be with me as well. And we'll tell you about the rest of the UFC, the big boy classes tomorrow. Bye-bye.